me some homies, but, you think that he's surrounded with so much talent. We know that Russell Wilson is doing less with more, doing more with less. He has Metcalf. He doesn't have really a line. That's what I think that Russell Wilson is the true definition of an elevator. He's a guy that takes guys, whether it was Baldwin before, whether it was Golden Tate. He's a guy that's always elevated guys that couldn't really shine or star on other teams and make them better. He's a guy that, you think about, the deficiencies, and it's his fault right now, right, because he's taking a big chunk of the pie. Mahomes is the beneficiary of being on a cheap contract. They're going out getting hired guns for him. He has some of the fastest athletes, tight end, offensive line, able to make the trade for McCoy, be able to go out and get Sammy Watkins, Tyreek Hill. So he's been able to be on that rookie deal, so he's benefiting from that. But if I had to pick anybody, I'm going to go with McCaffrey.
Oh, you mentioned McCaffrey yesterday as far as an off-the-board.
Yeah, he's been special.
He's been the MVP, the most valuable player to his team. Without Cam Newton, they have a winning record with a backup quarterback, a rookie quarterback, a defense that's still trying to figure out this new system. He's been doing everything. 200 yards. Only thing that can stop him is cramps.
Well, I think this might surprise some people, but through 5 weeks, the MVP has been, to me, Russell Wilson. And you mentioned all the things Mahomes has going for him. Here's another thing Mahomes has going for him that Russell Wilson does not. The difference between having Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy design your offense and call your plays versus the Brian Schottenheimer system in Seattle is night and day. It would be a pleasure to see what Russell Wilson could do unleashed in an Andy Reid offense. But through 5 weeks, listen, Russell has a higher quarterback rating. He does have the one more touchdown. He is completing a higher percentage of his passes, and he's doing it, to your point, with less talent. The guy that's in the line of getting the absolute most out of his abilities playing with Russell Wilson, as far as Golden Tate, Doug Baldwin, now it's Tyler Lockett, who for the last season and a quarter now, Russell has a perfect quarterback rating when targeting him because he is putting Tyler Lockett in the best positions imaginable, and Tyler Lockett is turning himself into one hell of a player. The only asterisk I will put on it is this. While through 5 weeks Russell Wilson, to me, is the MVP, the best bet would be, for my money, Patrick Mahomes. Because I think by the end of the year, Mahomes' numbers will rebound from the worst game of his career statistically this past weekend. They will get Tyreek Hill back. Some of those weapons you've talked about, he's been without this year. And so I think Mahomes, by the end of the year, is more likely to be the answer. But right now, Russell Wilson's been the most valuable player in football.
Disregard the other two. McCaffrey's having an outstanding season there in Carolina. Yeah. Outstanding. Last year, he wanted to get 1,000 rushing and 1,000 receiving, and had set that as a real goal. Nick, after 5 games, stat-wise, where is Patty Mahomes compared to 2018?
So 2018, after 5 games, he has no interceptions this year. Last year, he had some picks. He has more yards this season. Last year, he had more touchdowns. So it's neck and neck, depending on how you want to look at it. His passer rating.
But given how outrageous last season was, and there's no one on TV that I've heard, and I watch everything, that said Patty Mahomes would duplicate what he did last year.
No.
Well, he's doing it.
Yeah.
And now we're getting ready to try to discredit that because, and this was all, we used to always have this discussion about the greatest wide receiver. Well, Jerry Rice, he was with Bill Walsh, and he had Joe Montana. And then when Joe left, he had Steve Young. That ain't his fault.
Right.
They wasn't running those hills with him. They weren't making all them spectacular catches. They weren't doing all that. So we're going to discredit, just like Brady, all his Super Bowls. Is it Belichick? Is it the Patriot way? What difference do it make? Everyone, when they draft into an opportunity or free agent, do they take advantage of it? And Patty Mahomes is playing better than he played last year, which was a remarkable season.
That's true.
Russell is having a great season. McCaffrey is having a great season. But the best in the game is playing better than he did last year. And the only way you can give the MVP to someone else is if you say, oh, he's got a tight end, Kelsey. Oh, he's got Andy Reid calling plays. Yes, he does. He does have that franchise, that intellectual talent that we talk about that's not a wide receiver and everything in Kansas City, but he's also taken advantage of it. He had every opportunity this all season to get soft. He was traveling around. He was being honored everywhere. He had every reason not to come back focused, but He's come back even better, and I just like to be able to recognize that.
But we have, you could be a victim of your own success, right? Because we've seen him last year throw for 50 touchdowns. Will he duplicate that? Maybe not. And we know that, we have these sentimental favorites. Last year was Drew Brees, and he fell off late in the year. But we have like these lifetime achievement awards, right? And we've seen Russell Wilson play at a high level for a long time, yet to get the award. If he continues to put this team in a tough division towards the top in contention, you know that it'd be a sentimental favorite to give it to him because we know that he's doing less with more. It's just like in basketball, you can give it to LeBron every year. Every year you can give it to Tom Brady. But people get tired of the same person. It's almost hard because he's competing against himself from last year.
Well, and the one last point, because, listen, there's going to be hard to find anyone that's a bigger fan of Patrick Mahomes than me. And Chris is right in this regard. Through 5 games this year versus last year, this year is a higher quarterback rating, higher yards per attempt, and a better touchdown-interception ratio, and more total yards, right? So in that regard, he is already having a better season. His raw touchdown numbers are not off the charts the way they were last season. But through 5 weeks last year, Patty Mahomes was not the runaway MVP because Drew Brees was neck and neck with him through the first 3 quarters of the season. It wasn't until Drew Brees fell off.
And how many? He only got 2 quarters playing with Tyreek Hill, right?
Right, exactly right. And that's the other reason why I think you can say right now McCaffrey or Russell Wilson are the league MVP if it was awarded at the 3rd poll of the season. But by the end of the year, I think Patrick Mahomes' numbers are going to far supersede everyone's. I think he's going to have I hope he actually has a better playoff resume than Peyton ends up having. But I think regular season, he's going to have Peyton Manning-style multiple MVPs, consistently leading the league in multiple passing categories.
18 and 1,000 gets it done for McCaffrey.
1,800 and 1,000? Well, that'd be something. 2,800 yards.
That's Marshall Faulk right there.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.